All right, everybody, we are live with the Combatcast. Chevy's got dinner on the stove, so let's get cooking here. And before we do anything, Chevy, tell people about our sponsor.
Yes, we'd like to thank the sponsor, Game Up. They make a thirst-quenching adult beverage with a special blend of electrolytes, help you get a little hydration when you're doing your drinking. Comes in a variety 8-pack, 4 great flavors: fruit punch, orange, lemon, lime, and grape.
That's right. And only 110 calories. It's low carb, so enjoy yourself some Game Up. Chevy, tell people what we got coming up next week and beyond.
All right, October 5th, UFC 307, Pereira versus Roundtree. Tasty looking card. Really looking forward to this one. And then October 12th, UFC Fight Night, Royval versus Tyra. It's a flyweight main event, but those two guys do like to bring it, so I'm also excited for that one. And then we're going from there to October 19th, UFC Fight Night, Hernandez versus Pereira. So that's Fluffy Hernandez versus Michel Pereira, who likes to backflip all over the octagon and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Another great main event.
Capoeira style. He's going to do cartwheels and everything. Now, before we get into this week's card, too, we got coming up, let's just talk a little bit about boxing. Rough weekend for Anthony Joshua. He gets KO'd by Daniel Dubois.
Yeah.
And now, as Tyson Fury said, I'm out of a big payday here, basically.
$150 million, he said, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going to be next for Anthony Joshua at this point, huh?
Yeah, it's and right before that, he was kind of showboating. I don't know if you saw the video, but he was like telling somebody in the crowd, like, "Oh, I got him, it's okay." And then he
had been getting rocked every round too.
Yeah, he got knocked down like 3 times in the fight or something. But I think this was a mentality issue for sure, because Dubois is talented. He gave Usyk some issues at one point. He was never going to beat him, but he gave him some issues, hit him with a good body shot. Dubois is underrated for sure, but AJ shouldn't have been overlooking him for sure. He should have handled him very well.
Do you think now, unfortunately, this is bad look for Francis too? Francis. Yeah. Like Francis is like, just stay in MMA at this point. Always get some wins in MMA before. Maybe you try one more boxing. I'm sure someone's going to give you some money, but I don't feel like AJ knocking you out and then AJ getting knocked out like this was probably not a good look for him as well.
Wilder is probably the only person I'd want to see Francis against at this point, because, not a whole lot of technique. He doesn't rely on technique anyway. He relies on power, which both of them do. So that'd be fun. But
you can almost do Joshua Wilder too. That's a fight, right?
That's what I'd like to see next, honestly. Also, if Fury isn't going to fight Usyk, because he kind of is talking about not doing the rematch or whatever, he wasn't so sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'd still watch the AJ and Fury fight. I don't care if they have losses. I'm an MMA fan. That shit doesn't matter to me. So
yeah, right. Right, do.
I just want to see exciting fights, and I think they'd put on a good fight. So.
Absolutely. And let's talk about exciting fights. Let's get into MMA this weekend. Fight night. Saint-Denis here against Renato Moicano. Benoit Saint-Denis, against Renato Moicano. Two guys that love to bang. This is going to be a great fight. I'm excited, but why don't we get to the actual... We're going to do the co-main event, main event on this card, but is there any fights you want to profile too before we get to
first of all, shout out to the UFC, because this is a 3 p.m. Eastern card, because this is from France. So we love those here on the East Coast. And then on the undercard, there's a few things to keep an eye out for. Matt Frevola, Steamroller Frevola. Yeah. He's always fun. William Gomis versus Joanderson Brito. 2 guys that fly under the radar. Very good matchup there. At one point it was the co-main event, but they made a good decision and moved it down the card. And then also Bryan Battle, he's always putting on good fights too. So all on the undercard there. So keep an eye out for those. But let's get right into this co-main event. It's going to be a short show, but I am excited for this co-main and main event. So let's talk about Nassourdine Imavov versus Brendan Allen.
All right. Imavov is 14-4-1, 6 KOs, 4 subs, 4 decisions. He's 6-2 in the UFC. But the important thing to note here, he's coming off his biggest win in his career, a finish over Jared Cannonier. And now Cannonier is getting older. It's still Jared Cannonier, and he had never been finished, I believe, in this weight class at that point. So, impressive performance. But now he's going to have to fight Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen is 24-5, 5 KOs, 14 subs, 5 decisions. He's won 7 in a row, including avenging a loss against Chris Curtis in his last fight. These two are probably soaring right now. They are both probably have the best momentum of their careers, and this is some great matchmaking here. Personally, I'm going to go with Allen. I think Allen just has a little more tools. I think Allen might not necessarily be the better striker of these two, I wouldn't say, but I think it's going to be competitive. But I think it's close enough, and I think Allen is probably going to be better on the ground.
Yeah.
I'll take Allen by submission, actually, round 3. I think we'll go to 3 rounds.
Okay. Outside of a bad showing versus Strickland in that accidental headbutt with Chris Curtis, Imavov has quietly been moving up the ranks with wins versus you pointed out Cannonier, Dolidis, Buckley, Shabazian, who we rate, and then Allen has been doing much of the same, like you mentioned. Some less known names, but he's been getting consistent finishes. In fact, he had 4 straight rear naked choke finishes at one point. So I think it's a really close matchup between both guys. I think both guys are pretty well rounded. I agree with you. I'd give Allen the edge on the ground. I've been very vocal about where I think Brendan Allen is, and I think he's the dark horse in this division. And I'm going to stick with him here. I think he gets the win. I think it's his time. I agree with you, though, round 3 submission, because I think Allen's just going to put the pressure on him. And then as Imavov's footwork slows down near the end of the fight is when Allen will get him down and get on his back.
Okay. Main event.
All right. Main event. Renato Moicano versus Benoit Saint-Denis.
All right. Moicano is 19-5-1. He's got 1 knockout, 10 subs, 8 decision. He's won 5 out of his last 6. He's 11-5 in the UFC overall. He's on a 3-fight win streak. He's tied Charles Oliveira, Brendan Allen, and Michael Chiesa for the 3rd most rear naked submissions in UFC history. Keep that in mind if this fight does go to the ground. He loves a good rear naked choke. Now, Saint-Denis, 13-2-1. Here's the important part. 4 KOs, 9 subs, 100% finishing rate for this guy. 5-2 in the UFC. He's what do we got here? Sorry, 5 out of his last 6. He's won his lone loss basically in his last 6 fights is Dustin Poirier, and that's the important thing. That fight was good until it wasn't. Saint-Denis looked very good early on. I think it went 2 rounds, and then Poirier lured him in, and that's Poirier. He's got that experience. He's a dog, as they say, and he was able to put him out. Now, I think that's important to note because I think Benoit here is going to be very motivated in France to put on a big show here, and 100% finishing rate. I think he's going to go for it. I think he's going to try to finish Renato here, and if he doesn't, I think it's going to be a long night for him. I think Renato Moicano is good at weathering the storm, and I think he's somebody that he could catch him, maybe ground and pound him, or submit him later in the fight. That being said, I feel like this is Benoit Saint-Denis' day. I think this is going to be his time, and so I think he will finish Renato early. I think he's going to get a round 2 finish. But if he doesn't, I like Renato the later this fight goes.
Yeah, what a great fight on paper for sure. Neither guy's ever in a boring fight, so very excited for this one. BSD is looking to bounce back at home in France, like you said, after that loss to Poirier. Meanwhile, Renato's coming off impressive wins over Drew Dober and Jalen Turner, who I'm pretty high on. Jalen Turner, very impressed with that win. So Are they going to grapple? Are they going to strike? I really don't know what's going to happen in this fight. Both guys are so well-rounded and so dangerous. It's very difficult to call. So I'm leaning towards Moicano just because I don't know what – I think he's very durable, and I don't know what BSD is going to be able to do like after round 2. Right. And I agree with you. As the fight goes later on, you have to favor Moicano, especially with the way that BSD fights. He's so aggressive. I think he might tire out. So I am going to pick Moicano by decision, but I think it's going to be an electric fight.
For sure. And like I said, I think he'll manage to get that first. I think he'll get him early. But if he doesn't, then we're in agreement. So we'll see what happens. Should be fun. Let's once again, let's hit them with what we got coming up.
All right, October 5th, UFC 307, Pereira versus Roundtree Jr. from Salt Lake. Looking forward to that one. And then October 12th, UFC Fight Night, Royval versus Tyra. I'm really high on Tyra right now. I think he's the next big coming to the flyweight division. And then October 19th, UFC Fight Night, Fluffy Hernandez versus Michel Pereira.
Yeah. And that Roundtree pay-per-view, by the way, too, is actually the same night. It's going to be a long day for me for WWE Bad Blood. Ooh. But since TKO is now obviously, all big one thing, the pay-per-view for WWE has been moved to 6:00. So it ends. Yeah. Right.
No more 2 TV situation.
No.
So, just a long day. That's all.
This is a longer day. Yeah, for me, for sure. Because I'll be watching Bad Blood. Me and Joe, we'll be doing a watch along for that on the channel too. So, and I'll probably be watching the pay-per-view afterwards. So, because it's a great fucking card. I don't see
absolutely. Yeah.
So, but anyway, guys, enjoy the fight night this weekend, and thank you for tuning in and enjoying us. Hey, enjoy some Game Up, too.
If you haven't tried Game Up, then you are missing out. Imagine your favorite seltzer and your favorite sports drink had a baby, but it's way better than that. Each can is 110 calories, low carb, 4.9 ABV. It's a nice light drink that is not light on flavor. Game Up comes in fruit punch, orange, lemon, lime, and grape. Pick it up at drinkgameup.com.